All right, thank you. At this time, we will recall to order the regular meeting of the Suffern Central Board of Education for Tuesday, March 5th, 2024. Let the record reflect all board members are present, with the exception of Dr. Nick Pond and Ms. Dickman. Please rise for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you all very much. Student report. Got a lot to say this week, probably.
We may need an intermission.
Oh, okay, got it. So as you guys are saying, there's a lot going on. Also, the next board meeting isn't for a couple weeks, so I have a lot to talk about this week. So this past weekend, some sports success. The boys 4x400 relay placed 6th at states. I mentioned them a couple weeks ago. And they did really well. Luke Leali is our state champion. You'll hear more about him. You'll see some of his clips. States is this weekend for hockey. A lot of people are coming up to Buffalo for that, so that's very exciting. The semifinal game's on Saturday. And then spring sports are starting on next Monday, so that's also very exciting. March is Youth Art Month, and I know the Art Honor Society is going to be doing a lot of activities. Junior prom tickets are now on sale. It's that season soon. There's an SAT exam this Saturday. There's also a countywide academic league invitational that we're hosting this Thursday, which is a big deal. On Monday, the 18th, Avid is hosting a college fair at lunch where students present about a lot of colleges that they researched. And then the spring musical, which is at the end of this month, but it's before our next board meeting. There's a concert on Monday where they do a little preview. And then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, there are showings, and it's Into the Woods this year, which everyone's very excited about. And there's going to be information about tickets and show times on the school website. So, yeah, that's a lot, but that's it.
Thanks. 1.08 minutes of the regular meeting of February 21st, 2024. Do I have a motion? Mr. Frazier. Second. Mr. Shapiro. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those against. Any abstentions? 1.09, superintendent comments.
All right, thank you very much. I also have a handful of comments I'd like to make this evening, but first, I would like us to get a little bit of a preview of our high school musical presentation. In just a few short weeks, Suffern High School will debut its spring musical production of Into the Woods. Opening on March 18th, this show includes music by Stephen Sondheim and many fairy tale characters like Little Red Riding Hood, Cinderella, Rapunzel, and Jack and the Beanstalk. Over 130 students are involved in all aspects of our production, and that is not typical of most high schools. That's a huge number of students that have the ability to participate in this type of production. Suffern High School's musical program is truly unique in that the spring musical production includes 3 separate casts. The main cast performs Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night. The matinee cast performs a Saturday afternoon show, and a concert cast performs a concept preview Monday night of the show week. All 3 casts prepare the show together and have the same chance to perform with the orchestra on the high school stage. The depth of talent that our students have is truly amazing, and thanks to the faculty and staff at all building levels, we can produce such high-quality theatrical productions. This evening, 2 members of our concert cast will be performing the song Children Will Listen from the Act 2 finale. Isabella Martinez is the baker's wife, and Brooke Lynn Murray is the witch. They are accompanied by our vocal director, Miss Allison Mayer. And finally, of course, here's the plug. For tickets to the show, please watch our website, which will be updated in the coming days. So go to suffernCentral.org, and in the coming days, you'll be able to see how you can pre-order your tickets. So, to our very, very talented students, I welcome you to the front here. Our board is going to go around so we can catch a glimpse of your wonderful performance. Thanks for joining us Thanks for joining us here this evening. They're going to perform there? Very good. So the board can stay here if you'd like.
We'll stand right here. We had it all set up. All right, we got it. And just on a personal note for me, this musical is very special in that it's my 20th show as vocal director at Suffern High School, and the first show I ever vocal directed at Suffern High School in 2005 was Into the Woods. And to see where that cast was 20 years ago and what we can do now today is just incredible to have 3 casts of these talented students. So we're very much looking forward to performing for you at the end of the month and right now. Sometimes people leave you halfway through the wood. Do not let it leave you. No one is for good. You are not alone. No one is alone. Hold into the light now. Let him see the glow. Things will be alright now. Tell him what you know. Careful the things you say, children will listen. Careful the things you do, children will see and learn. Children may not obey, but children will listen. Children will look to you for which way to turn, to learn what to be. Careful before you say, listen to me. Children will listen. Careful the wish you make. Wishes are children. Careful the path they take. Wishes come true. Not free. Careful the spell you cast. Not just on children. Sometimes the spell may last past what you can see and turn against you. Careful the tale you tell, that is the spell. Children will listen.
I just, I don't know about all of you, but I forgot that I was at a board meeting when I was listening to those absolutely beautiful voices. Isabella and Brooklyn, absolutely wonderful performance. Thank you so much. And Ms. Mayor, I did not realize that this is your 20th year of working with the students in the spring musical. It's just incredible. And thank you so much. And the two of you have represented the production extremely well. And I'm sure that believe it or not, there are actually people that watch these board meetings. And I'm sure many of people you just convinced to go see the spring musical. So thank you so much for being here. Just incredible.
Now you girls are only sophomores? You seniors?
No, we're sophomores.
Sophomores,
Yeah.
right? Correct. We got 3 more years. Well, 2 more years after this. I can't wait.
It'll be on our Monday night.
This is amazing. Your voices are amazing. Amazing. Thank you.
We're going to go back to rehearsal now so we can perform to you like
That's right.
Good job. Thank you very much.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thank you.
Break the leg.
I'm going to move up to the podium for a moment for the next portion of my superintendent's comments. Mr. Coronato's getting a couple images and some videos presented up there on the screen for us to view in just a moment. But first, I want to make some comments. It may not have come as a tremendous surprise to folks who have followed Suffern Aquatics over the past couple of months that Luke had this incredible accomplishment. But when the news broke and came to all of us here Friday night in Suffern Central that Luke Leali became the first Suffern swimmer and diver ever to win a state championship in diving, we were all so incredibly proud and blown away by this incredible accomplishment for you as an individual, for you as you represent, of course, your family and your coaches and those people that are closest to you, helping you succeed along the way. And of course, you made the entire district proud. I know that your friends at Suffern High School are excited for you. I know that there's plenty of recognition coming your way. But Luke, I wanted to make sure that we acknowledge you here in public for this just absolutely phenomenal accomplishment that you've had. So Luke, I want to first mention your coaches. You have the Skoklins that are always working with you in the pool and making sure that our Suffolk Aquatics team is an aquatics team, which means it's not only racing, but it's the incredibly elegant, graceful, and athletic sport of diving as well. And I know that the coach that works with you on those intricate details, Coach Ullman, has really played a major part in that. And I know that we all owe her a debt of gratitude as well. Our athletic director, Andy Guccione, couldn't be here this evening because for some crazy reason, Suffern Central Winter Sports continues even though we're all preparing for spring sports because we are so successful in our athletic program. But he said that he was exuding with great pride, and he's looking forward to having similar recognition ceremonies at the high school with students around as well in the coming days. So, Luke, I'd like to go ahead and just show this video, and then I'm going to bring you up to the podium for a moment to share a certificate that we have here for you. And then hopefully we can take a picture with the Board of Education as well that we can put up on social media just to show you how proud and excited we are for you. All right, Mr. Coronado, can you go ahead and show the video? So I believe these are just about at the state competition that won you first place. And I'm no expert in diving, but I don't see a lot of splashing going on there as opposed to when I dive. Just absolutely incredible. I'm going to be quiet. Absolutely incredible, Luke. And I know that just one mistake could sink the whole thing. And time after time after time, perfection up there on that diving board. So, Luke, if you can just come up here, we have a certificate to present to you, and we'd like to take a photo. Luke Leali, everyone, Suffern High School's New York State champion in diving. So here he wins the state championship, and I find out that he's back in practice there. Thanks, you win the state championship. You did a lot of off.
Congratulations. That's amazing. Good luck to you.
And I'd like to thank the coaches and Ms. Mermelstein for putting that video segment together just so we could get a sense of appreciation just for the incredible artistry and athleticism that Luke demonstrated there on the statewide scale that brought home first place. Truly impressive. I have a couple of other comments. I would like to, we had our high school musical representation here this evening for their production that's going to take place in a few weeks. But this week, as you remember from our last Board of Education meeting, we had part of the cast of the Suzuko the Musical, which is our middle school production. And they are having their production take place on the 7th, 8th, and 9th of this week. Again, you can get information on the specific times and how to get tickets on our website. What great young talent we have at the middle school, and you can really see how our music department and theatrical unit has really developed this beautiful pipeline for artistry and growth for our students. So that's coming up. I'd also like to share that our incredible art department is celebrating Youth Art Month in the month of March. And if you recall, last year, there was so much art on display in the cafeteria in the high school that we have now decided to expand that art show to 3 days so that more members of the public can get to the cafeteria to see the art, to really celebrate the incredible talent that our students have. So that's coming up next week, Thursday the 14th, Friday the 15th, and Saturday the 16th. So again, information and times are on our website. Just another great representation of the talent that our students possess, in large part because of what our teachers do to help our youngsters grow and really flourish with their artistic talents. I have to cross off the list because there's so many things to talk about here today. On Saturday morning, Ms. Linda Brennan from RP Connor and Brian Schwartz, the chairperson for the math department at the high school, organized and Suffern hosted the 10-county math conference, 10-county educators math conference at Suffern High School. We had several dozen teachers present that were presenting about the work that they do in the math classroom to folks from those 10 counties. And we also had some people from New Jersey come to this conference as well. And we had several dozen students, our little math ambassadors, if you remember them a few months ago, that came to talk about how they're helping to educate their younger colleagues in the elementary schools about math were there. And our Math Honor Society was present also at the high school assisting with the program. Just an incredible opportunity for Suffern to showcase the great work that we do. And of course, there were other folks that were coming. There was a keynote speaker that came to talk about how to teach math to multilingual learners. Truly a remarkable opportunity for several hundred educators from that region to come and be here in Suffern. So I want to thank Ms. Brennan and Mr. Schwartz and the other teachers that played such a big role. At the same weekend, we had our robotics team compete at the state competition. And sure enough, wouldn't you know it, they came home with a few awards as well. They placed second in the state in the Innovative Awards category and third in the state for the Inspire Award. And they have done a wonderful job along with Mr. Mugno, who is their advisor. Our robotics team continues to succeed. The hockey team, of course, won also on Saturday, and now they have propelled themselves to the state Final Four, which is going to take place up in Buffalo. So I know that there are students, families, other Suffern hockey fans that are headed up to Buffalo, myself included, and several administrators that are looking to go up there and celebrate what's great about Suffern athletics. So we wish them all the best. And then last but not least, how can we not acknowledge Coach Wright and his team, the boys basketball team, who for the first time in decades made it all the way to the Section 1 sectional finals at the Westchester County Center for an absolutely thriller of a game where they came up just short, but boy, did they demonstrate everything that is great about Mountie pride and about Suffern athletics. Such great dedication, work ethic, and playing with heart, and coming together when they could celebrate, and more importantly, coming together to support one another during the heartache, which was the end of the game there. Just incredibly proud of their accomplishments, their season. They exceeded all expectations. Absolutely remarkable. And now I have some perfunctory remarks that I have to make about school board elections. No offense to school board members or prospective candidates, but I'm going to read this statement that we have to make sure that we acknowledge and share with all residents. So to the residents of the Suffern Central School District, this year's Suffern Central District budget and candidate vote will take place on Tuesday, May 21st. If any resident of the school district is interested in running for a position on the Board of Education, petitions are now available. Petition packets may be picked up at the Suffern Central School District Administrative Building, which is here, 45 Mountain Ave in Hilburn, between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Monday through Friday when school is in session. 3 seats on the Board of Education are up for election. Completed petitions must be received by the elections clerk no later than 5 p.m. on Monday, April 22nd. If more information is needed, please contact the Suffern Central School District elections clerk, and you can find that on our website. Thus concludes my superintendent's report.
All right, thank you. A lot of good stuff for sure. Again, Lou, congratulations on just a phenomenal achievement. So we're going to move along now to our budget presentation. So this will be our second budget presentation of the season. We're going to turn it over to Dr. Castellane and let him present some updates on our proposed budget.
Thank you very much. So in February, I discussed an overview of how we began looking at the budget. Personally, I look at the budget process as a marathon and not a sprint. As we move through the presentation tonight, we'll be looking at potential expenditures, revenues, and the proposed tax levy for next year. Before moving on, I'd like to ask Dr. Gunnarsson to highlight a few of the enhancements in next year's budget that we discussed in the last meeting.
Thank you very much, Dr. Castellane. I noticed that you popped a picture of Luke on that front budget slide. Well placed. Good job. Very pertinent. Good job. Good job. That's right. I'd like to highlight, last meeting I talked about in generality some of the major enhancements that we're looking on bringing into the Suffern Central School District in our 24-25 budget proposal. Tonight I'd like to highlight just 3 of those, and in our next meeting I'll highlight some of the other topics as well. So I'd like to just spend a moment reminding everyone of the district's focus on literacy. We have worked quite closely with some parent advocacy groups, and of course, many of you who are following the news, especially as it pertains to education and Governor Hochul's budgetary proposals, there is a major push to ensure that school districts are going to be implementing the science of reading as their literacy curriculum. Suffern Central School District is ahead of the curve on this front. In fact, that we are piloting this year a language arts curriculum that addresses very specifically the science of reading. And we hope to be incorporating that program into our K-5 literacy curriculum next year. That program is called CKLA, and we are excited to roll out further details when our pilot of this literacy program comes to a completion. Of course, we are also investing in Orton Gillingham training as well as ISME training for our special education literacy teachers to make sure that our students who we identify as struggling readers are given the proper support that is backed by research. As we transition over to the next topic, special education, those of you that have been tuning into our board meetings in these last couple of meetings have heard some parents sharing some concerns, very real concerns about the special programs in the elementary school restructuring model next year. I'm pleased to share with the public that we have listened very closely to those concerns. We have worked these past several weeks, approximately a little bit over a month, to revisit the topic again, particularly with our leadership team for special education and the teachers who are teaching some of those special program classes. And we have adjusted our model for next year. So I'm happy to share that we are going to have 2 specific strands for special classes next year. We are going to have a special class in each of our K2 buildings and each of our 3-5 buildings. We are going to have a special class for therapeutic programming, and we are also going to have a special class for foundations learning to essentially replicate the experience that students are receiving if they are at Viola or Cherry Lane or Montebello in those special programs. They will receive that same type of programming in their home school. So this has taken some additional resources, both from a staffing perspective and a room allocation perspective, but we believe that it's important enough to add that to our budget, and I'm happy to share that with the board this evening. The third topic that I want to address is our transportation services. For those of you that are being impacted by the elementary school restructuring program next year, we have assured folks that we are going to be creating an efficient transportation model for our public elementary school students, and we continue to feel confident that that will indeed take place. The other aspect of our transportation service that we're working on for next year's budget is transportation services for our non-public students. Again, those of you who have attended board meetings in years past have heard from our non-public population that it's not an efficient model. It's not necessarily getting students to school at the appropriate time for their individual grade levels. And so we have engaged now with several of our non-public school partners, and we are going to be experimenting with opening up a bid process for up to 10 different non-public schools who already have their own transportation services and allowing them to bid on the contract for their particular school. I'm excited to be sharing this with the public. I think it's a really good indication for both public school families and non-public school families to see that this Board of Education is recognizing that we have an obligation to provide certain services under New York state law for all students who attend school, no matter what model of schooling they decide to take advantage of. And that's essentially a little bit more detailed view of those 3 particular areas, but I know that most folks who are tuning in this evening are really looking forward to diving in a little bit more into the numbers aspect of this budget proposal. And for that, I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. Castellani.
Thank you, Dr. Gunnarsson. So as you can see on the slide in front of you, these are our projected expenditures for the year. So as in any district, salaries and benefits always make up for the largest portion of every budget. These estimated expenditures for our district, these are the estimated expenditures for our district, and we'll continue to review them as we move through the process. So at our next budget meeting, we will sharpen our pencil, fine-tune some of these numbers. But as you can see, we talked about transportation, and transportation in our budget is the 3rd largest item, which will bring me into our next slide. So the transportation expenses are categorized into 3 different groups. We have public school students, non-public school students, and a mix of both that make up the other category. And what the other category entails is transportation for special education students, McKinney-Vento students, which are our homeless and displaced students, summer school, curricular and non-curricular, such as athletics, sporting events, etc. And then finally, in the last column, we have our transportation aid, which did come up in our last budget presentation. So I'll dive into that in just a little bit. I do want to mention that while the applications for the non-public busing do come in on April 1st, we are still processing them in our transportation department. Therefore, our budget is a best estimate on previous years and what we can anticipate for next year. So, as we talked about the transportation aid, in our last budget, and you'll see on a later slide, there was an increase. I'll jump back for 1 second. There was an increase above the 23-24 number to have an anticipated $1.2 million more. So how did we come up with that? So every 3 years, every district has to complete a non-allowable pupil decimal report. It's a great title. I love it. It's a comprehensive report that has several variables that go into the report. But the main variable that comes into play is that we receive aid on any students that are bused at a distance greater than 1.5 miles from the school zone. So when we look at our school zones, anyone that we transport, because we do transport across the district, we do not follow the 1.5 mile rule. We don't receive aid on those, but we do on the 1.5 and over. So on the slide, really, those are all the reasons why we would conduct a non-allowable pupil decimal report. However, the only one that pertains to us and the increase in aid is really the first bullet point, which was simply our time. So looking at rising external expenses. Now, this is a slide that you saw last time, and I wanted to have the concrete numbers in front of you. So for a health insurance increase, now health insurance follows the industry standard where it runs January through December. So right off the bat, we know what our expected payout will be for our health insurance from July to December. However, the second half of the year, there's an anticipated increase anywhere from 12 to 15%. So we need to figure that out in order to make sure that we have enough money in the budget to support the health insurance for all the employees from January until June of the following year. Insurance is something, insurance premiums are going up all over the place. Our insurance carrier is telling us that there's an estimated 16% increase in the budget. So that will follow the school year. We use New York Schools Insurance Reciprocal, just like many of the other districts in Rockland County. So this is a significant increase. And while we are looking at other avenues, currently this seems to be the best one. So we're accounting for approximately a 16% increase. The teacher retirement system and the ERS system, our civil service employees, are projected to have an increase in up to 10% for the upcoming years. So how do we prepare to pay for all these additional expenses? I know the numbers are a little scary at first. So executive state aid proposal. Again, a slide that these numbers came out in November. We discussed this slide back in our last presentation. And this is where we saw the increase in the transportation aid. So we still do not have a change in the New York State aid. So we're going to continue to work with these numbers and hope that the legislation does change it prior to the state budget adoption on April 1st. Our projected revenues for next year. So one of the items up here that I would like to point out is that although we might be disheartened to hear that Avon was leaving the district, we were excited to see that Regeneron came in pretty quick with a generous pilot program, probably faster than most places have put on the table. And by the end of this month, we should know whether we can continue to keep this additional revenue on the bill for next year. So at this point, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't. And the IDEA will confirm that towards the end of the month. Additionally, you'll see in the other column, we have an additional revenue listed at $500,000. Now, some of the things that fall under in the other column are our rentals. So while Suffern Central School District is still discussing the Viola lease with Rockland BOCES, we're anticipating an increased revenue of approximately $500,000. So we're looking to help offset the budget that way. Now, the tax levy, obviously, that is our largest revenue across the district. So we are looking to receive approximately $1.3 million increase, raising the tax levy to $117.9. So what does that mean for our tax levy? The importance of this slide is really to understand the history. As we know, the consumer price index has drastically increased over the last couple of years. This has caused almost every purchase, every service, including the ones on my previous slide, to go up. Our goal this year was to develop a well-rounded budget and close that gap of the rising CPI. We're actually looking to propose an increased tax levy, which is similar to what the voters approved last year and the year before. While there were some discussions on utilizing a higher number for the tax levy, we do feel best to keep it consistent with previous years. This would also allow the taxpayers to know what their tax increase was last year and this year. As we know, Suffern has a wide range of home values, and it's often hard to pinpoint exactly what that would do as far as each individual home. So by keeping the numbers similar, it would allow taxpayers to really kind of look at their bill and see what they could expect for next year. And that would be the proposal for the tax levy for this upcoming year. I'd like to ask if the board had any comments or questions.
Thank you, Dr. Castellane. Okay. So if we go back to the transportation services. Okay. Now, what is, I guess maybe I should actually ask for the expenditure slide. What is the projected transportation cost for this, for 24-25?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going the wrong way. The expenditures. So 14, you're looking at 14.34. Okay. So we're talking what, 6%, 6 to 8%, give or take, year over year? Yeah.
Okay. So that's relatively consistent with the increase from previous year.
Correct.
Okay. I also want to ask about the New York State insurance.
Yes.
So the projected or estimated 16% increase. What is that number right now? So what is our total payout in that category for the insurance?
I don't have that number with me, but I can definitely give you that number.
Okay.
And give you what the estimated cost would be. Because
I'd really like to understand what a 16% increase looks like.
Absolutely.
You know, and again, it's important to understand that that's not something that the district has any real say over. And that's, you know, I would like, you know, for the next meeting, that's fine. I mean, I'd like to really understand what that 16% increase means. And I did want to clarify, in the revenues, the $500,000 that you had in the other column, I know you mentioned potential BOCES renting of Viola. Is that 500, or was that not included in that 500? I think I didn't hear everything you said.
I included a $500,000 revenue for BOCES in the 24-25 column.
So, you know, obviously nothing's been done, nothing's been signed, but that's your estimate is the revenue generated will be in the range of 500,000.
Correct. And as we get closer to having a lease agreement, I'll be able to plug in the most accurate number.
Okay.
I just want to clarify that lease agreement is being negotiated right now. So I don't want the board to think that nothing has been done.
No.
A lot has been done. We're close to being finished, but we just can't share a specific number until we've signed off.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's fine. right. Now, are we going to have another? We'll have another update, another workshop on the 26th
at the next board meeting. In which case, I'll make sure I break down the insurance for you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Are there any other? Nobody has any other questions? Okay. Okay. I'm sure I'm going to have more as I kind of digest this, but I'll make sure that I communicate through the proper channels so that whatever questions I have for the next meeting, that you can have time to get them in the presentation for
absolutely. And I'll include all those questions in this way. Everyone's hearing the same message.
Okay. That's great. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right. Good. All right. Dr. Castling, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Good job.
Okay. All right. 1.11 public participation. This is public participation on action items only. If there are any members of the public who wish to speak on the action items for tonight, you can please approach the podium at this time. Seeing as there are no speakers, we will move to our action items for tonight. I will call for a consent agenda for action items 2.01 through 2.19. 2.09. Thank you. Are there any items anybody wishes to pull from a consent agenda at this time? Nope. Okay. So for action items 2.01 through 2.09, do I have a motion? Mrs. Hodge. Second? Mr. Donnelly. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those against? Any abstentions? All right. Thank you all very much. 6.01 board member comments. Are there any board member comments at this time? Anybody besides Mr. Shapiro?
Are you going first, Paul?
No.
Are you up?
No.
Okay. All right. No, I just want to, I know we've been talking sports and everything. I want to congratulate you. If I could only move half that well, I would be a superstar. I would feel like I'm young again. It'd be great. All the best. I mean, you have some talent there, and you're doing everything you can. Just God bless you. Just keep going. For our basketball team, Coach Wright, you did a great job. I know you're young, they're young kids, and I know you're going to be back next year, stronger and better, and we're going to win it next year, okay? And for our hockey players, I just wish let's bring it home this year again, all right? It's been a while. I think it was 19 we lost. We took the last state title. 22. Right, last year we didn't get it. We missed, right? Well, it's got to come home again, guys, all right? Yeah, no pressure. All the best for a great weekend for Suffern High. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to echo Tommy's words. Luke, I see you going off the 3-meter dive. I still remember the time in college I had to jump off the 10-meter diving board, and I was scared, but all I had to do was jump, and the only thing they told me to do is keep your arms in, okay? And so I remember. Though I have gone off of a 3-meter dive, and my stomach still hurts, okay? But you were really, it's just great. And obviously Suffern Sports, and I was lucky enough to be both at Tuesday's game where the boys basketball team won, and also Saturday's game where maybe they didn't win, but I must say this, the team did a great job. Coaches were great. The Suffern fans showed up. That community, our community, was there, and you could hear it. Peekskill on Saturday has a very short drive well, definitely a shorter drive than us, and they don't have to go over a bridge. Well, maybe they do, but they were there, but we really were there in force, and we were loud, and we were so supportive. And kudos to the parents who brought their kids, and kudos to the parents who sent their kids. But it was just a great show of how much support Suffern Sports gets. And I guess what we have to start doing now is showing up at the pool at Suffern High School. I don't know if there are enough stands for 300 or 400 people to watch. I have a feeling maybe not. So maybe we have to increase the size of that, but that's for the future. But Lou, congratulations to you. Congratulations to all of Suffern Sports, the track team, the robotics team for coming home with a couple of great awards. It's really this community has it all, and we are very fortunate to be living here. So that's it for me. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Any other comment?
Yes, Mr. Shapiro, you're correct. We do need to go to the pool. So I've had the privilege of being at the pool because my son happens to be on the team, and I'm sure Coach can explain it better, but it's like in order, and diving's supposed to be in the middle. So when I hear that diving is first, I'm like, I'm still going to be on time anyway, because watching Luke dive is like watching a performance more than like an athletic event. And that has been a pleasure. Also, anyone who knows me knows that the highlight of my year is the Suffern High School Spring Musical. So I'm so grateful that we got a little glimpse of the performance, and I'm so excited to attend that this year as well. So thanks for showing up to this meeting, both the musical and Luke.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. 7.01 public participation. This is public participation on district-related business. If there is anybody who wishes to speak about any district-related matters, you can approach the podium at this time. Please remember that this is an opportunity to address the Board of Education with any district-related business. Please do not mention any students by name, teachers by name, and please keep comments to 3 minutes.
Hello. Hi, Dr. Gunderson and the board. Thank you. Thank you for that update about the special education programs. I'll try to alter my what I was about to say in regards to that. Can you hear me?
I can. I just is it me or the sound just doesn't sound?
Is that better?
Eric, I wonder, do we want to switch on the mic if there's like static on the mic? Unless you have the way of fixing it.
Is this better? Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So thank you for those updates. My name is Bonnie Getz. I am the mother of a child I've spoken a few times before. So I'll try to alter my speech accordingly, but you'll forgive me if there's some things that are still there. Also because we don't fully understand the program, so I would like to hear more about that. I look forward to hearing it. 2 weeks ago, we, the parents in the therapeutic support program at Montebello Elementary, expressed our concern over the changes to the special education programs in Suffern. We described the special setting that makes the class therapeutic by design. And we hope that the coming changes that were just mentioned today will create a minimal change for our special students. I want to bring to the board's attention that any change for these students alters their equilibrium and the family's stability. Changing a child's educational setting is not a quick recalibration and we're back on track. This is a major collision with many months of intensive care, rehab, and nurses attending to each child to get them back into a place where they can learn and grow again. For example, it took my child 1.5 years to navigate the stairway at Montebello Elementary School, including the 6-week summer program. And he still needs assistance with a game plan that took multiple meetings with teachers and therapists to aid in alleviating his anxiety and motor planning skills. This is with teachers and therapists, mind you, that he is already familiar with and has established a rapport with. I understand that there is a transition team in place. If it takes my child 1.5 years at least to adjust to a new building, then I would like to meet this team and hope we could arrange a meeting as soon as possible. Unless you plan to give those parents like me the option to stay in the school we are currently in. Our children have worked so hard to adjust to learn how to navigate the school they call home. When my son found out Montebello minicamp would not be held at his school this year, he was saddened and disappointed and refused to attend the new location at the middle or high school where it is being held this year because of the restructuring. It clearly wasn't the camp itself that drove his desire to attend. It was the location. Setting matters. By the time my child transitioned successfully in his new school setting alone, regardless of other setbacks such as possible behavior challenges, social challenges, mixed peer groups, and lack of therapeutic supports, he will be heading to the upper elementary to readjust again. Another new setting. I refuse to let my son set my son up like this for failure. This is not providing him with an appropriate education in the least restrictive environment. This is a pinball game, and he is not alone. We share these concerns as parents of the special education classes. We are grateful for the incredible support they've received up until this time through the care and guidance of their teachers and therapists, and ask that you continue to reconsider any special education restructuring plans very carefully with the children's needs in mind. I invite you to come see their classrooms and their progress with your own eyes. Ask them why they like the classroom or the school they're in now and what makes it feel like home to them. They will tell you much more than any student profile report or budget item analysis. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Daniel Getz, husband of Bonnie. I'd like to just, echo her words and just really maybe add just 2 points, which I would just like to, and also very deep appreciation, Dr. Gunnarsson, you and your transition team, really appreciate, I see you've been working very hard, very grateful for the update and how you're working. One thing which I would like to just emphasize, regarding the difficulties in transitions, and offer maybe just an option maybe to consider in your meetings, and I'd be willing to also meet if that would help, but perhaps considering maybe either a grandfathering or some way of retaining the children in their current educational environments, because this population has an extremely difficult time transitioning to different learning environments. So it's a very key fact. And the other thing, I would also like to, maybe if possible, have a taxonomic breakdown of the locations and the programs and the classes, because I understand that there's 2 foundational strands, but I think there's 3 different programs. I wasn't sure how the taxonomical, what was a subset of one, or how they feed in if like in the tree diagram. But if it would be please possible to publish the details as soon as possible, I'd be very grateful. But I really want to thank you for your ongoing efforts and look forward to new updates. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. Good evening. My name is Laura Sullivan, and I'm the mother of a child in 2nd grade therapeutic support at Montebello. I've spoken before. First, I just want to thank you for listening to the parent concerns and making some changes to address our concerns. I do understand your plan to offer a therapeutic support strand and a functional learning strand at all 4 schools. I just would like more information on what that looks like. Will there be 8 classrooms, 8 teachers? What will the classroom environments contain? What will they look like? I know there was an email sent today to some parents. These 2 programs were described as the therapeutic support program and the foundations program were described as the 2 main strands that support our students. I don't know exactly what that means or how that was determined. And I was wondering where the students in the DLU, the Diagnostic Development Unit, would go. I'm kind of guessing that they would be dispersed between 2 programs at each school and maybe be fit into these 2 programs, and the students will be in then classes that are mixed. This might sound new. This new offering sounds like better than the original plan, but it's not what is best, and it isn't the Suffern standard I'm used to or we are familiar with. In particular, for my son, he's slotted for Cherry Lane, and there are still only 2 classes for children from 3 unique programs to be placed, and catchment zones still matter. I'm wondering if the only difference is maybe the titles or the names given to these classes, because I don't see much has changed. But again, I do need some clarification in terms of the classrooms and the environment. I'm also just curious as to why we as a district are still stuck on the homeschool for special ed. I was told by more than one district employee that busing out of homeschool was a problem, and I'm not exactly sure why. My son, and I'm assuming a majority of the self-contained children in district, have special busing, meaning a small bus with an aide on their IEPs. My son has that. Those buses have to take them to school. So I just wasn't exactly sure why it matters if he's going to Cherry Lane or Montebello. Because again, the homeschool thing, it's not really an issue for me because he's attended Montebello for 3 years and that is his home. I'm in education and I honestly can't stop thinking about this. And I was wondering if you thought of 3 separate programs allocated to specific buildings. You could kind of do a similar model to the one in place now with 3 separate programs and 2 classes allotted to each, 1 K-2 and 1 3-4-5, thus providing all of your special education students with programs that meet their differing needs. Again, I'm not sure about the answer of busing. I would just need more clarification on that in terms of what I've said with their IEPs. And maybe that could be explained in greater detail. I don't know, maybe I'm missing something. But I also acknowledge the increased communication between the decision makers. Yeah.
Oh, no, you're just trying to be cognizant of time.
Oh, sure.
That's all.
I'm almost done.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm acknowledging that there's increased communication between the decision makers and the teachers that know their craft best, and that has commenced, and I thank you for that. But I do have further questions regarding the decision-making process. Who made the initial decision to change our special ed programming? Was it a collective party? Did the decisions take place in conjunction with classroom observations, or were they detached? Were there any actually like focused walkthroughs of the classrooms? Maybe the setup in relation to specific programs conducted? Did any observations of teaching and learning processes take place to understand the current students and their specific needs? I would just like to understand that better. And yeah, have you guys visited their classrooms this year? I was just wondering. These students, these teachers are earth angels, and I'm I invite you to get your hands dirty, get down in the trenches with them, maybe refamiliarize yourself or acquaint yourself for the first time with these specific classrooms, their students and their earth angels, teachers. Make yourself familiar with what we are fighting for and why we want to preserve what best serves the population and the families. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's Alexandria Bowens. I spoke before, and I actually have a student in the foundations classroom. And I was very pleased tonight to hear that we're going to maintain the foundations program along with the therapeutic program. I struggle as well with the benefit of having the children in their own home schools. These children, I know my grandson included, have in their IEP that they belong on a small bus with a monitor. So they're going to need a special bus regardless of the restructuring that's being done. So I struggle to understand the benefit of putting them in the home school. You know, the other thing is the tax or the report that was given on the budget for this coming year. When we see things like Luke and these performers out here and our special education program are the things that make 1.11 or 17% increase not so bad. So, you know, just these are our jewels here in the school district. I've been in the school district for generations. My father's a retired science teacher. My sister's taught in the schools, and you know, Suffern's a special place, and I think we want to maintain that for all of our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers? Okay. Thank you very much. We will close this portion of the meeting. Superintendent, closing comments?
Thank you very much. I just have one brief comment just to follow up on that special education discussion. So we have finalized what our revision to the special classes plan is, and I felt it was important out of respect for the families who have come and spoken to us before to share that new information with all of you this evening. Admittedly, we have not put together a final communication to go out to all of the parents in our special programs, but I wanted to make sure that I shared with the speakers from our last meeting that we have made progress, we have listened to you, and although no solution may be perfect, we have heard the concerns, and we believe that together with you, and especially the teachers, the practitioners in the classroom, who I have visited and had discussions with, we have made these accommodations, and we believe that this is going to be a better program. Admittedly, we have not shared all the details, diagrams, information, when you're going to be able to meet new teachers yet. That will be forthcoming. Thanks, and that concludes my superintendent's follow-up comments.
All right, thank you. Okay, that's gonna do it for tonight. At this time, we will make a motion to adjourn. Our next meeting will be the 26th, so it's 3 weeks from today. Huh? So we'll be 3 weeks instead of our regular 2 weeks between meetings. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion. Mr. Donnelly, second? Second. Mr. Shapiro. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you all very much. This meeting is adjourned. We will see you all in 3 weeks.